Hello everyone, let us talk about globalization versus protectionism. Well, as we all know, that what is globalization? Globalization is just interconnecting of money, interconnecting of people, interconnecting of businesses throughout different nations and throughout the globe. That is globalization. But what is protectionism? The new term in India, which is very common for protectionism, is Atmanirbhar Bharat. Protectionism is preserving the country's own businesses and rather non and giving the first priority to the country's businesses and the country's people. So these are just two opposite terms. So which one is better? I think a mixture of both should be used. But if we see, then the last century has been of globalization only. We have seen that after the World War, the European countries revived due to their globalization policies. America becomes a hegemony, became a hegemony because of globalization, and China is the number one exporter of the world. So that clearly indicates that globalization is uh, is doing is a very widespread idea now. But protectionism is an idea which was there uh, from last from if we exclude the last century, then protectionism was there to a great extent. But now, they after the COVID pandemic, the idea of protectionism is also in limelight because uh, due, it was due to globalization that the COVID widespread occurred throughout the world. And also different countries want to be self-reliant. They want to be self-sufficient. So the idea of protectionism is in the limelight these days. I think it is good also because depending on other countries so much as we are today is not a very good idea. The so some kind of atmanirbharta should be there. And for that, promoting the promoting the country's own businesses is a good idea. Well, what are the benefits of globalization? Let's see. Globalization, number one benefit is that the economic flow throughout the world is very nice. The countries grow economically very fast. Number two, the social and cultural exchange is great. Like many Indians go out of India, and they might be spreading some culture of India there. And the social harmony among people of different countries when they live together, when they work together in different MNCs under the idea of globalization, then the social and the cultural exchange is great. And it's very nice to uh, see these positive sides of globalization. But let's see the positive sides of protectionism also. As I mentioned before, number one is that self-reliance. No one needs to ask someone for their essential goods. Like today, India is very much dependent on China, and even for its basic pharmacy like paracetamol. So it is very necessary to be self-reliant, at least in the basic commodities like pharmacy, like agricultural goods, like textile. I think these are the things that are basic needs of any human being, and a country must be self-reliant in terms of all these things. India is self-reliant in terms of food. India has a food security, but we have to work a lot on being self-reliant in the pharma sector, and also in the textile sector to some extent. And today we see that no country is self-reliant in all the fields. Every country is dependent to another country in one way or another. So today, the major thing happening, the major idea throughout the world is globalization. But I think it is changing day by day. The acceptance of protectionism is increasing among the common folk and the policymakers also. So it would be very interesting to see that what happens. And and both globalization and protectionism own have their own benefits and demerits. But It's a kind of a dual-edged sword. So the government should make their policies keeping all the things in their mind. For India, if we see, what can we do? Currently, India is in full support of. If we talk about 2 years earlier, then India was in full support of globalization. We used to trade a lot in the global market. A lot of MNCs are there in India, and a lot of and a lot of manpower exchange is also there. Many Indians are the CEOs of major tech firms in the US. So that indicates that India had its indulgence in globalization to a great extent. But now the thing is changing. The motto of Atmanirbhar Bharat is there in front of us, and and a kind of nationalism wave, a soft nationalism wave, is also there in India to make this country great again. So I think protectionism is the acceptance of protectionism among people and the policymakers is a lot more if we compare to 2 years earlier, and that is good also because the pandemic has taught us some lessons that we should learn, and we should be self-reliant in various fields and not be dependent too much on the countries like China, US, and European Union. That's how we will be able to be Atmanirbhar by we should promote the indigenous companies and industries. Like in the defense sector, there's a lot of scope because India is very much dependent on other countries for its defense equipments. But if the research and development and the promotion of the companies, if the research and development is taken care of, and the promotion of companies by the government is also taken care, then India can be very much uh, move in the direction of self-reliant in the defense sector. So that will be a really great achievement. uh, and the other sectors are like the energy sector. India should be self-reliant. We import a lot of coal, we import a lot of oil. But if we slowly and steadily move towards not so slowly, because the climate change is also there. So if we try to catch up with the energy demands, by 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 intacting the non by intacting the renewable sources of energy, then this will also be a great achievement. For that, solar grids must be there throughout the country also. Uh, wind power energy wind energy must be harvested from where it can be harvested. A lot of capital, a lot of research and development, a lot of initiative is required. But that must be given that must be that must be taken these steps must be taken to make India self-reliant and also globalized. It is also not good to be only self-reliant only. There is a difference between self-reliant and selfish. uh, Selfish means indicates that a country is just cut off from all over the world. Well, there is no such country exists as such. But globalization is also important to some extent, to a great extent. but a sense but a sense of self-reliance, self-sufficiency must be there in the citizens as well as the policymakers of the country. Thank you very much.